What if our world suddenly stopped spinning? Hello, it's me, and you're watching this channel. It's one of the most fundamental rules of our universe, the rotation of our planet. In fact, it's believed that it's the rotation of our planet that created our very existence. Without it, would there even be such a thing as humans? But more importantly, what would happen to us if it were to suddenly stop? Would we all be flung off into outer space, or pulled into the planet's core? Well, thanks to physics, we know exactly what would happen. So let's find out. We'll start with the day that the Earth stops spinning. The moment the Earth stops rotating, the world would not end, but it sure would feel like it was ending. Because while your house and your neighborhood might remain completely unaffected, the ground beneath your feet would no longer be flat. The Earth's rotation was actually the force that created our planet's equator, flattening it by about 43 kilometers at its widest point. With no more rotation, gravity would pull everything towards the center of the Earth, causing massive earthquakes and tsunamis across the globe. In a matter of hours, entire cities would be wiped out by these natural disasters, including New York, Tokyo, and London. Even if you managed to survive the initial disaster, your survival would be short-lived. With no atmosphere to hold it up, the Earth's ozone layer would collapse, leaving us vulnerable to the sun's harmful UV rays. Within weeks, anyone who didn't seek shelter underground or in space would burn to death under the sun. And without the rotation of the Earth, our weather patterns would also cease to exist. Hot and cold air wouldn't be mixed, causing massive storms and hurricanes to wreak havoc across the planet. In fact, the Earth's surface would become so hostile that even the toughest animals would struggle to survive. As if it couldn't get any worse, we'd have to deal with twice as many meteor strikes. That is because our atmosphere rotates with the Earth, and any meteors approaching from the side are usually deflected away from the planet. But without rotation, we'd be sitting ducks waiting for our fiery demise. And for those who managed to survive all that, life as we know it would cease to exist within a few months. Because with no rotation of the Earth, there would be no seasons as we know it. One side of the planet would face the sun and be unbearably hot, while the other side would face away from the sun, plunging it into eternal darkness and freezing everything in sight. Only the areas near the poles would be inhabitable with moderate temperatures. And even then, it would be almost impossible to live there, as the sun would only shine for a few hours each day. At this point, the Earth would essentially become a frozen wasteland, completely uninhabitable for humans. But the Earth's rotation also has a profound effect on our evolution as a species. For millions of years, the Earth's rotation was the force that created our magnetic field, which protects us from dangerous cosmic radiation. Without rotation, this magnetic field would disappear, leaving us vulnerable to dangerous cosmic rays that could trigger mass extinctions. In fact, it is believed that the Earth's rotation may have been the reason why life was able to evolve in the first place. After the Big Bang, the Earth formed from a giant cloud of dust and gas. This cloud would have rotated, creating a flat disk shape that allowed for the formation of planets. Without this rotation, the Earth would have been a barren, lifeless rock. In fact, it's believed that if the Earth were to stop rotating again in the future, life as we know it would once again cease to exist. But it gets even crazier. You see, the rotation of the Earth is what causes our days and nights. Without it, we'd only experience half a day every 27 hours, followed by 6 hours of daylight and 18 hours of darkness. Our biological clocks would quickly fall out of sync with the solar day, disrupting our sleep cycles, metabolism, and other essential functions. Within years, the human race would begin to die off due to these internal malfunctions, and this would cause some animals to go extinct as well. Animals that rely on the Earth's rotation for navigation would be completely lost. Birds that migrate across continents would no longer know which direction to fly, and animals that hibernate during the day would be unable to do so, eventually starving to death. Within decades, the Earth would become a ghost of its former self. Now, even though the Earth would be covered in ice on one side and fire on the other, it would still retain some pockets of habitable land near the poles. Unfortunately, these regions would be completely cut off from each other, separated by thousands of miles of frozen wasteland. Humans who managed to survive would be forced to live in isolation, slowly developing into different species due to limited gene flow. Over centuries, these isolated human populations would become so genetically distinct that they would no longer be able to reproduce with each other. Humanity would effectively go extinct at this point. Only the toughest animals would survive on the new Earth, such as cockroaches, bacteria, and tardigrades, which are already known to survive in the harshest conditions. In fact, life on Earth would begin to resemble what it was like just millions of years ago. It would take another 65 million years for life to evolve again, this time creating creatures that are better adapted to a non-rotating Earth. But of course, there's no guarantee that this will happen. In fact, it's likely that our solar system will be destroyed long before this happens. You see, the rotation of the Earth affects the gravitational pull of our planet. It causes a slight bulge at the equator, making our planet look more like a rugby ball than a perfect sphere. This bulge affects the gravitational pull of our planet. In fact, if you were to weigh yourself at the equator, you'd weigh about 0.5% less than you would at the North Pole. This may not seem like much, but it's enough to affect the gravitational pull of other objects in our solar system. And over billions of years, this can have a significant impact on their orbits. It's possible that if the Earth were to stop rotating, the gravitational pull of other objects in our solar system, such as Mars, could become unstable, causing them to collide with our planet. And if that happened, it would cause complete and total annihilation for the Earth. It's hard to imagine a world without the rotation of the Earth. It's something that we've always known and taken for granted. But as we've seen, it's a fundamental force that shapes our planet and our existence. Without it, we would not be here today. So let us take a moment to appreciate the incredible forces of nature that make our world so special. Because in the grand scheme of things, we are just a small part of something much bigger than ourselves. Thanks for watching. What do you think would be the most difficult aspect of living on a planet that doesn't rotate? Let me know in the comments below. And make sure to subscribe for more videos. Thanks for watching. What if